On this episode of Street Rodder, we go posh as we look at a 1951 Cadillac. But looks can be deceiving, as well as a classic hot rod Lincoln. Then we'll dash off to check out this unique interior treatment. Take a gander at a 28 Ford AA pickup that's a work in progress. And see what could be the ultimate project car in street rodding history. Welcome to Street Rodder, coming to you today from the Daytona International Speedway. And ladies and gentlemen, the Southeast largest car show and swap meet area anywhere in this part of the country. Hello, everyone. I'm Claude Wood. You have joined us for a great day of street rodding here. At least 5,000 street rods are on the grounds. And to take a look at one of the best-looking ones, Bill Stevens has a pretty good eye for street rods. Bill, what have you found for us?
All right, I know what you're saying. Bill's standing next to a 1951 Cadillac. Wait a minute, that's a street machine, not a street rod. No, this is a street rod. It's actually a 1948 Ford that's been made to look like a Cadillac. It is an astounding job, and it's owned by Bob Deal of Taylor, Michigan. The car was built about 5 years ago, and there's so many modifications on it, we couldn't possibly tell you about all of them, but we'll walk you through some of them. Car sits on a reworked 1968 Buick frame. Just about every single body panel on this car has in some way been changed or reworked. The rear quarter panels are from a 51 Cadillac. The front fenders, they're a combination of Cadillac and Ford pieces. The front grille is from a Cadillac. The headlights have been Frenched and tunneled. And underneath the hood, he's got Cadillac power from a 1979 Caddy, also used the transmission as well. Inside the car, a whole conglomeration of different pieces. A 1957 Ford dashboard, a 1970 Pontiac steering wheel, 1970 Pontiac top. Power top actually works, and a 1970 Pontiac rear seat. The front seats are from a 1994 Cadillac. Now, the color of this car is just spectacular. It's a candy brandy wine that's been sprayed over a gold base coat. The hubcap's 1957 Cadillac, and if you look at this car from just about any angle, you would swear you're looking at a Caddy. But it is indeed a Ford. In fact, Bob calls it the Fordillac, which leaves one question. What do you tell the boys at the Registry of Motor Vehicles when you go in to get tags for this car?
Yeah, it is a problem, Bill. Hey, it's time now for great feature cars as we salute some of the cars that have been featured inside the pages of Street Rodder magazine. While street rodders dream of what it's going to be like when they get their rod done, hot rodders are already planning what they need to carry with them when their car breaks down on the side of the road. Even though this 35 Chevy Coupe is Mike Jennings' first rod project, he's enough of a realist to realize that someday he may have to work on his three-window on the side of the road. The engine's definitely hardy enough. The 350 small block has been bumped to 355 cubes by O'Reilly's Machine Shop in Mike's hometown of Springfield, Missouri. Inside, full instrumentation is courtesy of VDO gauges, while the sand and blue bucket seats are out of a Datsun 240Z. With over 8,000 miles on the stock, albeit beefed-up Chevy frame, Mike's had enough time to work the bugs out of his coupe, making this silver cashmere and vanilla shake-colored rod very roadworthy. Street Rodder is brought to you by Street Rodder Magazine, America's street rodding authority, and by Summit Racing Equipment, 30 years of low prices and expert advice. Stay with us. More coming your way from Daytona Beach when we come back.
Power up your PC to Holley.com for thousands of performance parts. Holley carbs, fuel injections, cylinder heads and ignitions, Weiand manifolds, water pumps and superchargers, plus Lenati cams, cranks, pistons, and rods. Holley is the heart and soul of performance. Call for the dealer nearest you.
Strangers in the night, exchanging glances, wandering in the night. What were the chances we'd be sharing love before the night was through?
You never know when nature will take its course, so be ready with Scope. Nothing kills more bad breath germs. Its minty tingle gets breath so clean and fresh. Scope. Feel the tingle.
Dandruff, psoriasis, scalp dermatitis. If you asked all the dermatologists listed here to recommend a therapeutic shampoo, Neutrogena T-Gel would come out #1. T-Gel works on all 3 itchy, flaky scalp conditions. Neutrogena T-Gel, it works.
Tired of your low performance life?
Rev it up at SummitRacing.com. Get the latest racing results at Drag Race Central. Get the inside scoop on Summit's racing teams and project vehicles. Get a performance education from in-depth tech articles. And get Summit's low prices in the online parts catalog. Just one button can turn your garage into High Performance Central. Low prices, thousands of parts, racing news, and real-world tech. It's all yours at SummitRacing.com, the world's online performance warehouse.
Welcome back to Street Rodder, coming to you today from the Daytona International Speedway, and one of the Southeast's largest street rodding events. But, you know, according to co-producer Rick DeLuey, plans for next year are even larger.
Well, we're always looking to expand the infield of this big racetrack because we just keep growing out of space. And so we're always planning on most efficient use of this infield.
Street rodding is growing by leaps and bounds every year. What is it that catches people's attention and draws them to this sport?
Well, I think most of it is, again, goes back to the baby boomers, which most of us are. We're trying to recapture our youth, the cars that we had in our youth. And so it's getting to the point now that our kids are gone and we have a little money extra to spare. More and more people are getting in it. I see more and more cars in this Daytona Beach area every day than I have in the past 30, 40 years that I've been here in Daytona.
What areas of the country do these people drive in from?
We've got people coming in from California, from Oregon, all over the East Coast. I don't think we have a state that's not represented here. And the biggest thing is that we have people flying in from Europe to attend this event and see this great show.
Hey, Rick, tell me about the number of participants here.
Well, the Daytona Beach Street Rods and the Daytona Racing District have the Southeast's biggest car show here at Daytona International Speedway each Thanksgiving weekend. Over 5,000 special cars and trucks on display and for sale, plus over 3,000 actually filled swap meet spaces with automotive parts and accessories. It's a massive event.
No, the one great thing about street rodding is that you don't have to go overboard and spend $100,000 for a real high-end automobile to have something you can be proud of and take to a rod run or a show, have some fun with. George Rushing of Richmond Hill, Georgia knows that because his 34 Ford right here looks terrific. But he didn't have to pour his hard-earned savings into this car to make it look as good as it does. It's a classic Motor Carriages fiberglass body, 34 Ford 3-window with a 3-inch chop top. Very simple drivetrain. He stayed all Ford with this. It's a 302 with a C4 automatic transmission out to the Ford solid rear axle out back. He's got the Eagle 5-star wheels all the way around and the performance rubber to give this car a real solid ride wherever he goes. Simple and tasteful interior with the white leather bucket seats. And you see the accessory gauges. They're those retro antique-looking gauges that are pretty popular with some of them. They want to stay a little bit traditional after they do all of the other major modifications to their cars. Simple red paint once again all over this car. Even has those classic purple dot taillights out back. So this is a rod that looks good, runs reliably, and will take George just about anywhere he wants to go, except the poorhouse.
It's time now for the Summit Racing Equipment Industry Update with Bill Kuhlman, which previews some of the most innovative and interesting aftermarket equipment available to the street rodder. From Summit Racing Equipment, 30 years of low prices and expert advice.
Hi, I'm Bill Kuhlman with this week's Summit Racing Equipment Industry Update. I'd like to address you guys pulling the $100,000 street rods out there to the events. The ones pulling in light trucks, SUVs, Tahoes, Suburbans, Expeditions, Durangos. Have you ever considered the roll factor in those vehicles? Well, I have when I saw one going down the road one day. I remembered Hotchkiss Performance. Hotchkiss was stuck in my mind because they made great sway bar and traction devices for General Motors type vehicles. They've gotten into that SUV market right now. You can get the high quality of Hotchkiss to basically control the vehicle. In a test they did, they basically ran 600 feet and gained 5 miles an hour in a slalom course just by the addition of a sway bar. All of their products are the best quality. You can see we have grade 8 bolts, polyurethane bushings. Items are TIG welded, black powder coated, laser cut. We have even stainless steel U-bolts. once you powder coat this process and put it on, it'll have that great look for the life of the vehicle. And think how much safer it'll be for you and everybody else on the road, but also that street rod you're pulling out back.
A 40 Lincoln? You gotta be kidding me. Big Daddy doesn't kid. More when we come back.
Think satellite's the way to go? Earth to you. You pay for the dish, installation, repairs. Want to connect to more than one TV? You'll have to buy more than one receiver. With Media One, there are no hidden costs. You call us up, we come to your home, we install the box, we stay for dinner. Now, watch this.
Call today to find out about our special offer.
Hey, satellite boy, ditch the dish.
Media One. Call 1-800-252-2492.
Honey, trash. Bye, Mom.
Media One Roadrunner. No waiting. Always connected. Instant access.
The website is an extremely valuable asset to us here at ESPN. We utilize it every single day.
Yeah, it looks like Lavin will pitch game one. Yep.
We log on every morning, everybody in the department.
We check someone's batting average, who's been traded, who's been benched.
When a producer calls us, oh my God, Rafter pulled out of the tournament, we have to change the spot.
I'm working. St. John's is ranked number 23. The guys out there, they're always on it. The website's crucial.
ESPN.com. Go where the pros go.
I don't see how we could get through a day without it.
Welcome back to Street Rodder, coming to you from the Turkey Run in Daytona, Florida. Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Now, let's go to Big Daddy.
You know, if you're going to build a street rod, one of the most swoopy-looking bodies you can ever get your hands on is a Lincoln Zephyr, around a 39-40-41 three-window coupe. This happens to be a 1940 three-window coupe. And this car has a very interesting history in that in 1970, when I was still in Seffner, Florida, I was driving down the highway, and I saw this car, this very car, in the guy's yard, and they were taking the engine out, and they were putting a late model engine in it and a GMC rear end, like a big Dana. And I stopped and I asked the guys, what are you doing? They said, oh, we're making a street rod. And I, at that time, wanted a bone stock Lincoln three-window coupe. And so I gave a whopping $750 to these kids and pulled this car down to my shop in Seffner. And then I was following the Hemmings, and I found a Lincoln Club Coupe, same year, 1940, that only had 16,000 miles on it, but was very rusty, and it had belonged to Henry Ford's wife. It was up north. So I went up north, and I bought that, and I was going to take all of the stuff out of the Club Coupe and put it into this three-window coupe. Anyway, we ran a little low on money, so I sold the pair of Lincolns to a gentleman that was going to restore them. But instead, he restored the one that Mrs. Ford owned, which was very rusty, and I wouldn't have wanted that job. And he ended up selling this three-window coupe to Lawrence Perry in McIntosh, Florida. Of course, I didn't know any of this went on. And one day at a street rod meet, I saw this car, and I just fell in love with it. It was powered by a Chrysler Hemi. It had a 700R transmission in it and a big 9-inch Ford in it. Of course, I wanted to put it back stock, but I tell you, it was much more usable like it is. And they used some Ford Taurus interior in it, very unusual. I kind of like the original Lincoln Dash, but he wanted all the late model stuff inside. Ended up with one tremendous road machine, and these cars have one slick look about them.
Hey, you want to build a rod, but you don't know where to start? No problem. Each week here on Street Rodder, we'll show you how to build a rod from the ground up. Brought to you by Holley, the heart and soul of performance. Now, with this week's Build-A-Rod, here's Ted Jones.
Well, Holley is the heart and soul of performance, and if they're the heart and soul of performance, then P&J Automotive is the heart and soul of street rod building. Hi again, everyone. I'm Ted Jones. Welcome to this edition of Build-A-Rod as we continue to build our 1939 Ford, and we're working right now on the chassis, have been for the last few weeks. Right now, we're going to be talking about stopping this monster using what kind of brakes?
Wilwood disc brakes, front and rear.
Now, we want disc brakes all the way around. Why instead of drum brakes?
It's just a better stopping system. They don't heat, and it's just a better brake.
And what's the first step? What are the guys doing over here, Jay?
Well, he's bolting the
bracket for the front brake caliper on. Then he'll put the hub and the disc assembly on, and then bolt the caliper onto that.
Tell us a little bit more about these brakes. They're made out of stainless steel or what?
Well, the center hub is aluminum. It's all billet aluminum and of course, machined. The calipers are aluminum, and the discs themselves are steel.
And I've heard aluminum dissipates heat better.
Yes, it does.
So another advantage to using the disc brakes in addition to the Wilwood disc brakes. Doesn't look like a real complicated process installing these.
No, it's not. They have very good instruction sheets that show an exploded view of what it's supposed to look like, and our guys just bolt them together in just a matter of a few minutes.
Now, back on the back, on the back disc brakes back there, we have an extra caliper. What is that for?
That's the park brake.
And how does it work exactly?
Well, it's just there's an extra bracket on the rear brake bracket, and that park brake bolts right to that, and then you have a cable that runs to your emergency brake cable in the car, and when you hit it, it locks those back wheels down.
I would say it really parks. So instead of an emergency brake, you literally have a parking brake.
Yes, sir. When it's done, it's solid.
All right, now, one other thing I noticed, Pee-wee, forgive me for asking, but you have provisions for cotter pins and everything, but there are no cotter keys in it. Why is that?
Well, we're not that far yet, Ted. We've got to completely tear this chassis back apart.
No, get out of here. You're not going to tear all this apart.
Take the whole thing back apart again, piece by piece, paint and powder coat every piece of it. Then we'll reassemble and torque all the nuts and bolts down to the proper specifications and put those cotter pins in place.
That's the whole idea. So you use cotter pins just about everywhere?
Everywhere that either cotter pins or self-locking nuts.
Now, explain to the viewer out there, what is the advantage of a self-locking nut?
Well, the self-locking nut has a nylon insert in it, and really it looks better than a cotter pin does. May not be quite as safe.
All right, and the idea is it won't come loose.
Exactly.
Once you torque everything down.
That's correct.
All right, so you heard the news. They're going to tear all this apart. Have it powder coated, have it painted. You'll see that in a future episode. You won't see it today because we're out of time.
Hey, don't you go anywhere, especially Merc fans. A great one coming up. You're going to love it. Serious street rodders know that quality is the first consideration for your project. Since 1988, Low-Car Performance has led the way in product development and design for the street rodding industry. Low-Car automatic transmission and nostalgia shifters are the standard of the industry. Low-Car has the quality products you need for your street rod. At Low-Car, our commitment is to provide the automotive enthusiast with the best possible products and service. Email or call us for your free catalog. Low-Car Performance products, quality, plain and simple.
Don't you hate the phrase, assembly required? Then try Chili's Sirloin Stack. It's a tender seasoned sirloin, sauteed onions, and grilled peppers all put together for a bold new taste. Chili's Sirloin Stack. Let's eat.
This is so wrong. This was supposed to be the prime of my life, not the end of my life. I should have taken more chances with her. My broker. He took chances with my money. If only life came with a roadmap.
It does. MyPrimetime.com. Creative tips, tools, and technology to get the most out of life.
Boy, I wish I had another chance.
Whoa. MyPrimetime.com. Your personal trainer for life.
ESPN and ESPN2 are live from Daytona for Speed Weeks. From practice and qualifying to live coverage of Speed Weeks major races and events, we've got more than 50 hours of racing news and highlights. And every night, get a complete rundown of the day's major stories on ESPN2's RPM Tonight. For more complete coverage, more races, more on-site reporters, plus the nightly show that revs you up for the next day's action. Tune in to Speed Weeks on ESPN and ESPN2.
Jake and Elwood taking their 5-minute break here at the Turkey Run, but Big Daddy has found a great car for us.
You know, they don't get any better than this. 40 Mercury, convertible coupe, black, flames. This is the ultimate California hot rod. When I was a kid, we would have killed to have a car like this. We'd put a hot Mercury in it and the Lincoln gears in the transmission, and we'd have been down the highway. But Baron Highgrove did a good job with it. It's got a 350 Chevy transmission and a 350 engine in it. Makes a real nice combination. It's lowered, got white wall tires on it. It looks just like it's out of the 50s. It's even got the beautiful rolled and pleated interior. This is just the way we used to do it. Red here, black, or we'd have had red here and black up here. Got checkers on the dash. Now, that's a little bit different, but basically, this is a hot rod right out of the 50s. And let me tell you, a 40 Mercury convertible coupe is a very rare car on top of it.
Thanks, Big Daddy. Well, let's hit the road right now and travel up to Detroit. And here's Brett Kepner.
Hey, Claude.
Up here, Brett.
Claude.
Yeah, I'm up here. Is that you?
Yeah, we're here at the Detroit Autorama, which, you know, is huge. Now, the neat thing about the Detroit Autorama is that they have this swap meet that includes all kinds of cars everywhere. But if you look long and hard enough, you can find really cool stuff. Now, you're a frugal kind of guy.
Yeah.
And if I do say so myself, you have way too much time on your hands.
Well.
So we thought we'd look around for a neat fixer-upper for you, and we found this thing.
Oh, dear.
Now, I have to admit, we found a lot of weird stuff at swap meets on Street Rodder before, but this one takes the cake. This is Claude Wood right here, buddy. You're looking at an all-steel 32 Ford. Still has the insert for the fabric top there. We got the real cool elevated wing here. And this thing has already been started. You can see a lot of body work on this Phaeton that's still all steel. In fact, they've already shaved the doors. Everything's looking pretty straight. Now, what makes this car unusual, and granted, it's a nice chop-top machine, is when you get up here. Now, this is Claude Wood. Your basic 6 Weber carbureted Lamborghini V12 engine. Now, this thing is already laying in the frame rails. I can't actually say that it's securely laying in the frame rails, but here you'll see an artist rendition of what this thing could look like, Claude, if you would just take the time to do the job right. Obviously, this guy had everything in mind before he started. Now, let's see. This is Hot Rod Zalkowski out of Sterling Heights, Michigan, owns this thing. I want you to call him, Claude, as soon as the show is over. I want you to get this thing. Now, he only wants $25,000 there for it. Might be able to talk him down to $24,900, something like that. But this is you. This is the next Street Rodder project car, Claude. We have to do this. Seriously.
Brett.
Really, Claude, I'm serious. This is you.
Give me your charge card, okay? Well, maybe not. Let's go to the leader of the pack, where we show you the best of the best, from paint and graphics to design and originality. It's brought to you by PPG Automotive Refinish, world leaders in automotive finishes. Now, with this week's leader of the pack, here's Ted Jones.
Hey, for this week's leader of the pack, we've got a beautiful little car. Wait a minute, cameraman. No, wrong car. See, that's a 51 Merc over there. It's a P&J body, but it's not a street rod. It's a 51. You have to be pre-49. So over here, look at this beautiful 1932 Ford. It's also a P&J body. Over, cameraman, over. I know, that's nice. We'll talk about it some other time, okay? I want to talk about this 32 and some of the things that are unusual. Yeah, it's a 32 Highboy. It belongs to John Bell from right here in Danville, Virginia. I'm a P&J Automotive. Take a look at the engine. Folks, that's not your typical run-of-the-mill 350. No, that's not one of the late model Ford 302s. That is a 283, one of the most dependable engines ever built by Chevrolet. Came out of a Corvette. He had the right idea because, you know, probably that's what was going on back in the 50s when one of these cars would have been built a nice 32 Highboy. And he linked it up to a Turbo Hydromatic 350. Wrong again. Look on the floorboard, folks. Count them. 1, 2, 3 pedals. Gas, brake, and clutch. That's right. This is a Muncie 4-speed that was hooked up to that Corvette 283 engine. Now, the color on this one is PPG paint, especially blended by the owner of the car. He won't tell us where he got the idea. He won't even tell us what the blend is, except, of course, that it's PPG paint. And the upholstery, gorgeous. Jerry Hobgood did that. He's from just across the line there in North Carolina. Outstanding job with the Naugahyde upholstery. We like the traditional gas board. We especially like the steering wheel, trying to keep this very traditional, just like hot rods were built back in the 50s. 1932 Ford Highboy that's without question a leader of the pack.
Thanks, Ted, and stay with us. We'll have a lot more coming your way from Daytona.
Power up your PC to Holley.com for thousands of performance parts. Holley carbs, fuel injection, cylinder heads and ignitions, Wyand manifolds, water pumps and superchargers, plus Lunati cams, cranks, pistons, and rods. Holley is the heart and soul of performance. Call for the dealer nearest you.
Dandruff, scratching, itching. Use Neutrogena T-Gel Stubborn Itch Control with cooling menthol you feel on contact. Unlike self-control, it works. Ask any dermatologist.
Dream lover, where are you? With a love oh so true. A girl to hold in my arms and know the magic of her charm.
You never know when love might come true, so be ready with Scope. Nothing kills more bad breath germs. Its minty tingle gets breath Scope clean and fresh. Scope, feel the tingle.
Where are you?
There'll be athletes and stars here to celebrate. Hotel rooms, the comfort, the minibar. Hey, greatest night in sports, gonna be a heck of a time.
It's the 2000 ESPY Awards, hosted by Jimmy Smits. Join Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Steffi Graf, Tiger Woods, Pete Sampras, Mark McGuire, Jerry Rice, and many more as we honor the greatest athletes of the decade. Live from the MGM Grand on Monday. The celebration begins at 7:30 on ESPN. Presented by Pennzoil and General Motors.
Well, a lot of beautiful and fast cars here on the ground at Daytona, but you better not drive fast here. You're in my part of the country now, boy. So let's travel to Kentucky. Right now, here's Ken Stout.
I'm going to show you a sharp-looking 1928 AA. It's not a Model A. It's a AA. This is the heavy-duty work truck. When they drove the other ones to town, the AA's, they loaded the cart up with and hauled stuff to town or hauled it out of town back out to the farm. He's made a lot of changes to this truck. Real nice-looking ride. Still in work, obviously, and you can see it's all been primed, and he will eventually paint it, but he wanted to drive it, and he does drive it a lot. They put some clear over the primer, and the primer looks pretty good, actually, and they even put some stripes on the door to make it stand out a little bit. If you take a look on the inside and the interior, you can see that they're working on that as well. He's even building a console here. It houses the CB and the stereo. The top up here used to be chicken wire, and they've made that into nice hard piece of metal up here, aluminum that they've molded over. The edges look very nice, and you can see the visor up here in the front. Doing a great job. But these things are lifelong projects. They just keep working on them and working on them, and they have fun. They enjoy these vehicles. The owner, let's meet him right now. His name's Ken Allen. Ken, you having fun with this thing, huh?
Absolutely, every day.
Now tell me, you still drive this thing a lot? You said you were hauling stuff in it.
I was hauling cinder blocks in it 3 weeks ago, and I was hauling PCP pipe in it 2 weeks ago.
Well, this isn't supposed to be a work truck. It's supposed to be an enjoyment truck. And you just have fun driving stuff around, huh?
That's how I have my fun, is driving it and doing whatever I'm doing.
Now tell the people what is the difference between the A and the AA. I mean, obviously the bed is a lot different.
Well, when this was original, the bed on it was about 7 foot by 10 foot, and it had big, like 22-inch tires on it. And it was made to haul the animals or the hay or feed, whatever. And I just, we cut it down, and we had, me and a friend of mine, Jeff, hand built a steel bed to fit the frame and everything, so it's a lot bigger than an original Model A bed would be.
Now, how long does it take you to do just what we've talked about now?
3 years.
Wow, 3 years. And how long have you owned the truck?
3 years.
And how long do you think before it's finished? Go ahead, say 3 years again.
Nope.
The truth is, these things are never really finished, are they?
No. Every time you get one thing on it, I had just bought a new air filter and breather for it, and then I decided I didn't like it, so I took 2 parts and made me one I like, and my wife wanted to know how long it would be before I change that, and next time I see something else I like better, so.
And once again, not just a local driver. I mean, you guys hopped in this thing and drove it 400 miles.
Yeah, we live up Lorraine. If you go across the lake, we're 50 miles from Canada. So, but I drive it everywhere.
Let me show you a couple other things that'll tell you that this truck is in process. If you take a look down here, these running boards used to actually end right here with a panel on the back of the truck, and then, of course, you had the big stake bed for a body up here. They've changed that, made the running board a lot longer. He also has a panel here, hasn't inserted it as of yet. He says that's the winter project. I want to show you also on the back of the truck, as he talked about creating the entire bed, they've done a great job of Frenching in some tail lights on this truck, and the tail lights themselves are out of a 1956 Chevy.
Over 5,000 street rods on the grounds. We thought we would take just a moment and show you some of them, so sit back, relax. We do want to hear a lot of oohs and ahs. Street Rodder is brought to you by Low Car Performance Products, quality, plain and simple. And by Winall Polishes, the experts in custom metal care. That puts a wrap on this edition of Street Rodder. Claude Wood.